are stories that stick with me, and this one certainly has. It was in the headlines not long ago. A newborn baby abandoned at the hospital, and the nurse who says the unwanted baby saved her life. Just hold on. You're ready to cry. On a story so many people were talking about. So a few years ago, this picture was all over the news. A baby connected to tubes and wires, struggling to survive, addicted to drugs. She was abandoned at a Boston hospital, weighed less than 2 pounds. And that, of course, is not the whole story. A nurse at that hospital stepped in to change that little girl's life forever. And please welcome pediatric nurse Liz Smith. Liz, you were a nurse for 20 years. You've seen it all.
Yes, I've seen a lot.
Seen a lot. And then Gisele came into your life.
She did, and she changed everything. I was walking out of the inpatient medical units, and I saw this beautiful little baby in a stroller, and I said, "Who is that little angel?" And she had these big blue eyes and was so fragile at the time, had one little brown curl at the top of her head. And in that moment, I knew we were going to be part of each other's lives. I didn't know how long, I didn't know in what role, but I knew that I could help her and needed her as much as she needed me.
She was at the time withdrawing as an infant from multiple drugs.
Yes.
In her system.
She was born withdrawing from drugs, and you know, a lot of babies, when they're born into that situation, they're very fragile, and you have to medically manage them closely, and it's really difficult to see because these babies are innocent and it's not in their control, and they're born with a lot of challenges to overcome.
And as I mentioned, you've seen it all. I'm sure part of your training is, I'm here to help, I'm here to be a nurse, but I'm not supposed to get too attached.
Right. Yes, which is really hard. It's hard in our field in general, but I think beneath it all was my struggles also to become a mom, and it became even harder in the pediatric setting to see specifically Gisele needing a mom and that I had the skill set to care for her.
Where was her mother?
Her mom was really focused on battling her addiction and trying to succeed in recovery, and I knew that at the time, and I knew when she first came home with me that her birth mother was going to continue that journey, and initially to see if she would be able to recover and be fit to care for Gisele.
You talked about, again, this balance. Here you are, this pediatric nurse doing your job, but in your home life, you, as you mentioned, were also trying to start a family.
Yes. I had just gone through a tough time in my life, and I really couldn't figure out what the root of it was, and I was depressed, and I felt this emptiness that I had never felt before. And my sister highlighted, you know, I really think you should explore having a baby. A couple weeks before meeting Gisele, I found out that that wasn't going to happen, and I was devastated, and I was not open to adoption at all. I didn't think it would be the same. And wow, I couldn't have been more wrong. And literally 2 weeks later is when she crossed my path, and I thought to myself, this is it. I'm going to have a chance to be a mom.
How long had she been in the hospital without anyone visiting? Because I said, you know, the headline said she was abandoned.
Yeah, she was at Franciscan Children's for about 5 months after she had spent 3 months in the NICU. The state had taken custody from her parents, and like I said, they were focused more on their recovery and had very limited supervision to see Gisele.
So she had no parent, no, meaning in the sense of someone there regularly to love her and hug her at the time.
Yes.
And when did you first start to say to yourself, maybe I'm the void, maybe I'm here to give her what she needs?
It really was right away. I mean, it was that love at first sight. And again, it was really challenging because I knew I could give her that strength and that love in the moment, but I didn't know at that time if it was going to be permanent or if it was going to be a temporary situation. So
you went through the temporary process of providing that, what was missing, which was a parent.
Yes.
And then you decide, despite your reservations about adoption, you're going to pursue it,
yes,
and you eventually adopt her.
Yes. I mean, from the second I met her. Yes.
From the second you met her, you knew. But it's another thing to have that paperwork and she's yours.
I know. It's totally different. I mean, like I said, from the second I met her, I knew she was going to be part of my life. But then for the next year and a half, I had that concern, and maybe it's a temporary, maybe, you know, she'll be reunified. And then a year ago in that courtroom, I can't tell you the weight that was lifted off my shoulders and the joy I felt to know that my dream of becoming a mom had come true to this amazing, resilient little girl. And surrounded by family and friends, I could not be happier.
So that's her. She's
Yes.
healthy.
She is.
Precocious.
Oh, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She apparently wants to be Judge Judy.
Yes.
But here we go.
Yes.
From the courtroom to our house. Coming up after the break, we get to meet Gisele and find out what they're celebrating in a couple of weeks. We'll be right back. Pediatric nurse Liz Smith, who adopted baby Gisele after she was abandoned for 5 months. This story made national headlines. Gisele is now 3 years old. We are ready to see her and how she's doing. Come on out, Gisele. To the arms. Look at that is love. That is love. You couldn't have. Goodness. So this month you have a special celebration coming up.
Yes, October 18th. This is the 1-year anniversary of the adoption.
Oh. Yeah. Gisele, you want to say anything? Meanwhile, backstage in my dressing room, I kept hearing someone jiggle my door. She was trying to get into my dressing room.
She was trying to meet Tamron.
Could you have ever imagined this? You can't script this.
No, you can't. I mean, I often say it sounds made up, but it's just, she's changed my life forever. I mean, to see the power of love not just transform.
On the TV.
You're on the TV.
You know, she's transformed mine as much as, you know, people will often say she's so lucky that you rescued her, but really she rescued me.
Oh, you want to go on TV? Go ahead. Go ahead, go to the TV. There you go.
Here she goes again.
Oh, be careful. Oh, I got to take you down. Hold on.
Oh, boy.
Hold on.
She goes again on that.
1, 2, 3. Oh. Gisele, for sharing your story. Say, we'll be right back. Wait, bye-bye. Bye.